Okay, good evening, everybody. It is 6:49. I call the meeting of the White Lake Library Board of Trustees into order. Can I get an approval for the agenda or a motion to approve the agenda?
You gotta do a roll call first.
Well, we can do that. So the answer is no. Okay, got it. How about, let's do a roll call.
No, you can't. Richard McGlue, are you here?
I am here.
Jay Judah?
Here.
Karen Wines here. Gwen Newton here. And
Karen, Beth, Karen, Beth is excused
okay,
and Jen is excused.
thank you.
Okay, so with that, can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
I motion to approve the agenda for today's meeting.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. And we have presentations. Or was that a holdover from last month? No presentations, okay. Yeah, I think last month we had presentations, so none this month. We probably can take that off the agenda for next time. Okay, so there's opportunity for public comment. Any public comment? No? Okay. Then we'll move on to review of the meeting minutes from last month. Can I get a motion to approve the meeting minutes for the regular meeting, White Lake Board, Library Board, June 22nd, 2022?
I just wanted to finish reading through it, Rich.
Yep.
I motion to accept the meetings from the regular meeting minutes from last month, which was June 22nd, 2022, for the White Lake Library Board of Trustees.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. Okay, moving on, officers report. I have a brief report. I had the opportunity to attend the trustees roundtable.
Excellent.
There it was at the Farmington Community Library, which used to be my library when I worked in Farmington, and White Lake wasn't yet part of Wolf or TLM now there, but I had trouble finding it. It's been a long time there, but it was a well attended. 25 people or so trustees from around the area. It's interesting to hear some of the challenges that different libraries and trustees in particular experience. A little bit short, was that at hour and I'm sorry, 1 o'clock to 2:30, so it was an hour and a half. Easily could have been double that, but it's also hard to, I don't know if it had been 3 or 4 hours if I would have had to be able to, find the time, but they are holding them occasionally, and it's conducted by the Michigan Library there as part of their ongoing outreach and training. So I'd recommend it for others as in the part of keeping up with library trainings and such. Yeah. Aside from that, nothing else to add. Jake, Vice President's report.
Am I allowed to endorse the millage proposal on August 2nd?
I think you're as a individual. Yeah, I think that's okay.
Well, I would like to endorse passing of the library millage at the August 2nd election.
Awesome.
It's my turn.
Yeah, it feels like all in favor approved. Yeah.
I did send a thank you note to the friends for their wonderful retirement reception that they put on for Denise. I did send that out.
They are a fantastic group. Thank you.
Thank you. And on to the treasurers. Oh, do you have anything else?
No, I'm sorry, I'm good.
Okay, so I do have a little bit of a report. One, we need a motion to accept the bills. If everybody's had an opportunity to look at the fund sheet for this month and the check detail. If there's any questions, you can ask. I wasn't here for a couple weeks. I think you and Jen both signed because there wasn't a whole pile when I got back. And thank you very much. So if there's any questions, I do know, one, we need to approve the bills for payment as presented.
I will make a motion to accept those for payment as presented.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it.
And then there's a couple other things I want to talk about. The auditor last month mentioned that we had a person that was previously on the board that was on when they pulled the signatures from all the different banks. There was one person on our PNC bank, on our PNC. So I went to visit PNC. It took a while. They kept saying they couldn't find it, but they finally determined that a previous board member was listed as, and I hope I wrote this down right. They were listed as the responsible beneficiary to our sweep checking account. So all the other signatures were correct. But there was this one, and usually there's not, for a nonprofit, there's usually, in business, there's usually not a beneficiary, responsible beneficiary, but for some reason we did have one. And so he said, since we do have one, you can't just eliminate that person. So it's now I signed all the paperwork to be the responsible beneficiary, which I'm not really sure if it needs to be a board member or it should be the director.
It seems like it should be the organization, the library itself is the beneficiary.
Well, that's what I thought, but I thought, okay, I want to
Yeah.
resolve this and we can always go in and change it. The representative did not know. So the person that had been on there as a responsible beneficiary has been on there for a very long time.
Probably when they set the account up, they had to, he
Probably.
was probably was the treasurer.
So, and I sent you that note, and I'm wondering if we need to ask our attorney about that. Okay, thank you. Because just to make sure that we had it up to date, I did sign paperwork for it. It's not much to change that. So if we need to change it again, I would think that it really should have been April to sign that. So we can always.
No, because it shouldn't be an individual.
Well, the responsible beneficiary is an individual on these accounts. So let's talk to the lawyer about it.
Yeah.
And see what they have to say, okay? And I see your point, Rich.
But yeah,
I was very surprised.
yeah, no, I don't think it should, yeah, I don't think it should be an individual. I mean,
And I don't really know why it was set up that way. He didn't know why it was set up that way. And he said it wasn't usual. But also, the other thing that, and that brings me to another point about that account, is we have those two checking accounts, and one is a sweep and one's a normal business plus
Mhm.
account. And I asked why we're being charged fees, and we had not been charged fees before September 2020. So I talked to him again today, and he said he'd get back to me, and I told him that we really don't. There's several different options for checking accounts with that institution, and we would like one that definitely doesn't include any fees. And so he thinks it has to do with the transfers back and forth with the sweep account. So he's supposed to get back to me before the end of the week,
Yeah,
and I'll report that next month.
The
how we're doing.
advantage of this is it has, some income earning beyond, a simple
The-
checking account.
But it's very minimal. It's like 0.1%. So
Yeah.
we're making $2 or $3 a month.
We're spending far beyond that.
Yes. So there's other checking accounts that checking account options that we can use that actually pay more. So their investment banker, we have a person that is assigned to us. He is supposed to call me before the end of the week as well about what we could do to do some maybe money markets or CD investments with them and what that might look like. And I sent a note to Joe in April, and Joe recommended that we discuss this with the attorney, because we do have money that we should be investing better for the township and for the library. That we could do better and interest wise, with some short term. So I will bring that back to the board next month for what we could possibly do. And he assured me today that they will be discontinuing charging us a service fee on our checking account. Okay, so I'll keep you posted. So then the last thing is we do need to move some money. I don't think that we have enough to really cover next month's expenses. Today's balance was $134,446. So I think that we need to move some money from Flagstar, Rich.
Here we go.
Okay, so and yes, and if you see on the
Page
first
101.
page. Okay,
So 118 in there as of the end of
that was the 20th. Today, there's 134,446. I looked that up right before I came in.
Yeah, and I'm curious what the difference, why it went up.
I don't know, and I don't know if we had a deposit that I'm, unaware of. Okay,
That's another
but we,
16,000.
right. But that's not gonna be enough for next month, so we definitely, we haven't moved any money at all this year, so we do need to move some.
So
And I'm not really familiar with how much we've moved in the past at one time, Rich.
so let's see. So sorry, I'm looking at what is our monthly expenditures.
What did we say last month? We talked about this, April. The monthly expenditures were, I thought they were around 130. Right. I think that's what we determined, the average around 130. So it's too tight to not move money.
Okay, here's the. So June is looks like 105,000. There, but that's, that was even, so if we spend 105 or 110, or even, it's still,
It's too close.
it's,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
It would be easy enough for us to there. So we would normally do Uh, Let's see, so we're gonna move, so first off, where would we,
Well, I think it needs to move from Flagstaff.
Flagstar, yes. So we might do, say 250 or so,
Okay.
260. If you wanted to do 103 a month, then we'll give you a couple of months.
Okay, because I know we have not moved any money this year.
Mhm.
So, okay. Are you okay with that, April? All right. So Rich, can you handle that transaction for us?
Yeah, I'll copy you on the,
Okay, thank you. So I make a motion. Do I make the motion or should somebody else?
to
To
make the,
move 250,000 from Flagstar to.
I'm not sure where the treasurer doesn't make the motion came from.
I make the
But,
motion to
yeah.
pay the bills. And I'm gonna make
Yeah.
the motion, if somebody tells
Yeah.
me differently, I'm gonna make the motion to move $250,000 from Flagstar to
250?
PNC, 250,000
Okay.
to PNC. Okay,
See,
and Rich is gonna make that one for us.
I'll second that motion.
And I will have more next month on investment options.
So all in favor?
I,
All opposed? The ayes have it.
Thank you.
On to anything else on the for the treasurer's report?
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, so yeah, on to the director's report.
Well, it's been a busy month. Had a few staff come and go, but we have hired a new page, Ella. Happy to have her on board. 2 new CERC clerks, Eric and Katie. They're off to a great start. Haven't had a chance to meet them. I highly recommend it. They're doing a great job. We also were able to replace Emily's position that she had moved from, at least part of it, with another internal hire, Jacob.
Mhm.
So he's our new full-time adult librarian as of August 1st. So excited to see that happen. Under communications and marketing, we are currently investigating something to improve upon constant contact that is more integrated with the ILS system. So it allows us to reach patrons in a more targeted way. So like specifically, like if you have young kids, if you have teenagers, if you are part of an older adult community, so we would be able to do that. So we're looking at different companies that do that. Personally for me, I have experience with a company called Patron Point, and so that's been our first demo. We also looked at Orange Boy, we looked at Library IQ, and we're gonna, which is, I'll get to that, that's slightly different, but the same, but different. How's that sound? And then we have another one coming up soon, so we're just kind of getting our ducks in a row as possible budgeting for maybe next year. So that would be
Great.
something we bring to you in the fall. Library IQ, that one is a little bit of marketing, not as much as I would like to see from it. It was much more about collection development, kind of collection control, how to, with ordering and weeding and things like that. Kind of similar to another product called Collection HQ, which I'm not really sure that that's really what we need right now. So I'm looking more for the marketing side of it, but they're still in development phase of that, but we'll keep them on the table for that option of it. Did some investigating and got a hold of MDOT for the library directional signage, and they were great actually. I gotta give them a kudos. MDOT, kudos to MDOT. They sent me everything that we had previously done. So the permit, copies of everything, and
wonderful.
so I now have a packet. So as soon as some things free up, we get some things done around here that I want to get done with, then I will be starting that project again. I kind of got excited because I saw the blue library signs that we had in our mechanical room. Thought, "Oh, we've got the signs, great."
Mhm.
Well, come to find out from MDOT that the signs have to be green and white. So that's not gonna fly.
No.
Oh, those must have been for the old
Right.
library.
So actually in looking at the permit, it looks like we were due to get signage that was, if you're at the T there of Elizabeth Lake and M59, across over there, as well as over here by the farmer's market. So those were the two signage spots that were supposed to be permitted to go in.
The one that's right here in the corner. Okay.
As a start, the roundabout, I can see about that next, after the roundabouts come in, that Tigernet,
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, putting it in now would probably be,
right?
Then it gets torn out. And
Right,
where the sun
right.
goes.
Plus,
Wonderful.
from what I understand, the township will be eventually putting a larger signage there once they come over to this area, and they were talking about including us on that as well. So we'll see what happens with that. Okay, our July e-newsletter has a 43% open rate, so kind of happy about that. I've been now following our Google Business page and just checking every time now that we receive some sort of review, I get notification of that. And we have received 5 separate 5-star reviews within the last month.
Nice.
Yeah, so happy about that. Comment card suggestion, we were requested to add a footstool to the indoor book trap.
Okay, I saw that today and I'm not sure. Is that for children? to
It
be able-
is for,
okay.
yeah, it's for our littles to be able to put their own books into
Yes.
the book drop. And
Very cute.
and you know what? Yep, we absolutely have to do that. And you'll see in a couple pages over, I put a picture of it in there for you. Strategic planning, I have developed an RFP, which I will discuss that under when we get to the new business. What that will include, just so you see the BidNet there, is that I'm in the process of applying for us to become part of BidNet, which would allow us the opportunity to put in requests for proposal, requests for quotes, as well as I've got so much on my brain right now. Silent auctions. So we'd be able to post things on there and sell things if we needed to.
Fabulous.
that's through the state of Michigan. Is that the one?
Yep.
Yeah.
Nice. Program, so you do have your summer reading report from Emily. And if you were going to take a look at that real quick, yours is black and white. I just have to that's the color one she gave us. So we have, as of the 25th, 740 total registrations, 512 active readers. I think the big things that stand out to me on this one were the 626,000 minutes read.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Fantastic. So, and over 200 adult readers, that's very impressive.
That's more than double.
Yeah, it's a
Really?
big summer, so
Fabulous.
this is really great. And we're gonna hang out to this and hope we can beat it next year. That's the goal. So very proud of the team, the
I was
staff
gonna
have
say it's a
done.
nice number for teens there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the staff have done just a phenomenal job, so shout out to them for all the hard work. Great work, great job. I had the opportunity to staff the youth desk for a couple hours and I was like, okay, prices over here and this and do that. Oh, you guys have it all organized, so great job.
It's a fun place to be.
It is. So also had the opportunity to connect with New Horizons Rehabilitation. This is for so like adult special needs. And this is very dear to my heart. It's an organization, just one of the organizations that I used to connect with regularly at my previous employment and to encourage small group visits. So Taylor, who is one of the people that works for New Horizons, as well as I connected with one of the township trustees, also works for New Horizons, and connected with them both. And Taylor, I know from, like I said, my previous position. Taylor is a White Lake resident, and he brings his family here very often. And so the next time he's in, we're going to do kind of a walkthrough to see how best that we can be of service to their groups for group visits. So that's going to be coming up.
Fantastic.
Professional development, so for me, I've attended 3 different types of directors meetings, which have been extremely helpful. I have also, TLN is doing a director buddy. So you get newer directors get partnered with an older director. And so my friend over at Commerce, Allison, has volunteered to be my buddy, and she's already been helpful so far. Of course, along with Julie from Novi. So I kind of have 2 big buddies that I can text and email at any time. Niche Academy is a new product that we are implementing, and this is going to be both for staff and for our patrons. So it provides educational opportunities. It shows them different types of webinars, and you know what? I forgot to bring the sheet in.
I have a question about it, because you and I talked about it one day, and on the very next day, I got an email from Niche Academy. So is
Because
that,
there's going to be a board, thank you for this. You just reminded me,
Good
there's going to
segue.
be a board, board training too. So you will have your own area to go in and get more
okay, 'cause I
opportunities.
thought,
So there's going to be something for everybody.
no, this is a little odd that I got this email, and then I was gonna ask, it was our email shared? Yeah, I'm like, oh, well, how did I get, you know, it was just like within 24 hours, I received your email.
Your phone
So-
heard.
Yes. And I'm like, this is a little, so do you share the board's emails?
No, just, they are really going out, so your guys' email may be out there as a board member because it
Okay,
is to,
okay,
the Library of Michigan is also a subscriber, and because all trustees' information is
Right.
at the library, who knows?
I just thought it was unbelievable, that was probably 12 hours. This email in my box, so, but I'm looking forward to it.
Good educational opportunities.
Yeah.
So we're excited about that.
Good.
Okay. Director connections for me, attended a friend's lunch, a friend's annual meeting, White Lake Historical Society meeting. White Lake Business Association coffee at the Huron Valley Community Coalition. And as well as Amy and I both attended the TLN annual picnic.
Nice.
So good stuff.
And where was that at?
So that was at the Novi Lakeshore Lending Library area. They have a nice pavilion over there. And we are hoping to get them next year. Okay, so buildings and grounds, boy, what a month it has been. Wow. Yeah. A lot of phone calls, a lot of emails. But happy to say that Ventures has finally completed their warranty work, as well as a few things additional that needed replacement. So I'm looking right now at our new Japanese maple out there that is no longer dead, as well as the tree that's around the corner. All the nice little bunny grass. It's all fluffy and looking good. So, and it was just in time for the concert last night. Yay. Umbrellas are officially in at the Palm Beach store. And I
Fabulous.
told them, could you just hold on for the patio furniture, which within hours after receiving the phone call from Palm Beach, I received the email, the patio furniture will be here on Monday.
Very nice. That is awesome.
Which I won my bet, which said the umbrellas were going to arrive first.
It's great that we can use somebody local.
Yes,
Yes.
fabulous. Yeah,
Yes.
that worked
Palm
out
Beach
very
is,
well.
you know,
And
they're
kudos to
they're
them.
a wonderful vendor.
Yeah, they were very, very good. At the same time, out of the clear blue, the Girl Scout Troop 71057 dropped out of the sky and said, "Hi, we're here to freshen up your gardens." I said, "Thank you." And Home Depot of White Lake was kind enough to also donate the stuff that they needed for that. So between them and Home Depot, we now have our butterfly, pollinator, sensory, and fairy gardens all up to date.
Thank you,
They
Girl
are
Scouts and
beautiful,
Home
by the way.
Depot.
Aren't
But
they
yeah,
wonderful?
but yeah,
Especially the ones that are for touch, those little lamb's
Yes,
ears.
they're wonderful.
You
Yes.
could sit there all day. Bathroom tile work, so I reached out for some quotes on that, just to kind of get a feel for what it is we want in there. where we want to put some tile, what that might look like, and then just to get some costs before we go out for
Okay.
official.
Mhm.
I have to kind of see what's needed. Giant chess and checkers set were purchased. The checkers, not sure if they're gonna make it or not. The chess is up and running, and kids and families are already using it.
Oh,
and they
good.
love it.
And where is it? Okay.
It's right on the chessboard out on the children's patio.
Okay.
So if you have a
Okay.
chance.
Oh,
I don't
So
know if you
does
have a
it
chance
just
to make
stay
it.
out?
It'll stay out
Okay.
during, probably
The season?
May, yeah, seasonal, and I did purchase a large container that when you disconnect them, their base from their tops, it can all fit in there.
Oh, nice.
So,
I wonder what the container was for.
for the winter, yeah, for the winter.
And you know
storage.
what, now that you say that, I did see some people out there, when I was here for tail wagging tutors, there were people already out there using it. And it was really great.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
exciting.
there were some teenagers out there with some, I think they had younger siblings, they were out there using it, and it was really nice to see.
Yeah, I think it's great.
Mhm.
Okay, and there's a picture of that footstool down there. We had a slight failure with the digital signage out there in front, but it was under warranty, so they came out and quickly repaired that.
What was the issue?
It got very glitchy and one side wasn't showing up at all. And so the warranty covered it. Maria took care of that really rather quickly. Flagpole got fixed. We had two companies and one company was much more financially responsible with their quote. And the other company was they were very good. So they
What was
got
the
that
issue there?
fixed.
What was the issue with the flagpole?
If for some reason the top, the beacon light kind of just
Sort of fell over.
flopped over. And unscrewed and flopped over. I'm not sure how. And so they,
Yeah, notice that last
Yeah,
month as we were leaving, it's like,
why?
Yeah.
What happened
Yeah.
there?
Yeah.
it's, yeah.
And that person that came out and fixed it on a Saturday.
They
Which was
came
very
out,
nice.
fixed it on a Saturday, only needed a ladder, and the other company wanted to use, was quoting us a cherry picker.
Oh,
Yeah, he
And
just used.
his quote to us was, I couldn't handle seeing your poor flag hanging there so sadly. So thank you.
Yes, he was very gracious. I was here the day he was fixing it. Yes.
Very nice. Drive-up window updates. So I have written up, I got a contract together and working on finalizing a date. I heard that the Mason, it will be for the Mason portion of doing that project should be available the second or third weekend in September. So
Okay.
hopefully we can get the drive-up window installed at that time. Hoping to
It'd be
finalize that.
wonderful if it's before. it's
perfect
full.
timing.
So yeah, yes, really excited about that.
How does the
Finance-
staff feel about it?
Excited,
Okay.
because, glad to not have to go outside. Freezing cold. Yeah.
Very good.
And I'll be working with Kim on getting a procedure down
Mhm.
within the next, once we get that going. Working with Joe also on the chart of accounts. So you will start to see a few different types of fund numbers when you get this coming up, because we're changing that up a bit
Okay.
and how that's, because it's due by the end of December. So we're working on that.
I thought we already had,
We did last year when we went with
Yeah.
Joe. Yes,
It wasn't fully,
it wasn't,
fully
okay,
done.
all right.
It has to have more detail. So we'll get into that.
okay, so we have the right major accounts, but there's sub accounts we need to.
Right, there's control, sub-control, and detail, and he even goes into sub-detail,
Okay,
Okay.
all right.
which is good. Okay, technology and website. So the material suggestion form has been added to the website.
Thank you.
And we also
Thank you.
have it's the library card and PIN number are required, so that it has to be worked with.
Wonderful. So we go out to the front page, because I haven't been out there since I've been back
Yeah, you
from
can-
vacation.
I
and
can
it'll
show
be-
you.
That's fabulous. Thank you very much.
Yep. Slight Wi-Fi failure on July 11th, an issue with connectivity after we had lost some power over the weekend of the 9th and 10th. Half the computers in the library were able to connect and others were not. So we had the IT come out and figure out the problem and fix it.
Reboot the switch that didn't reboot.
Yeah, exactly, right.
Doesn't sound familiar to you, does it?
That sounds awful familiar.
Never heard of that before.
Our Envisionware self-check update, so those are set to be installed on Tuesday, October 11th at 8 a.m. We'll have a couple of appointments before then to kind of get us set up with that, but that's gonna be October 11th. So that those checkouts can just hang on a little bit longer. We are still waiting to hear about the hotspot grant. They're going in waves, and so we're just not quite there yet. In the meantime, that may cause us to have to pay for them for a little bit. I pulled some numbers for that. We had 15 hotspots. We have temporarily taken them down to 10 just to save a little bit of money on that, because it's $30.56 per device per month. So,
Okay.
which if we did all devices would be around $450 per month. So that's why we temporarily took it down. If we get the grant, we will move forward with putting those 5 back into service.
Is that the
Those-
emergency contact, the ECF
right.
forms of this?
Right.
Okay.
So we've been calling almost every day, asking, hello, and have made contact with our T-Mobile vendor to see what that looks like, and that's what it looks like. So hopefully that will happen. If we can eke it out for the rest of the year and then budget accordingly for this coming year.
Then we have the budget to be able to do that.
So, yeah, so far,
Okay.
so far.
Okay.
So that's that. Another issue is Gmail. So Google is not playing nice with public libraries. They have been switched us over. It's for a lot of different libraries, especially ones that did not set up originally through their friends organization. So some other libraries have set up through their friends, and so they're not facing this because it's through a 501c3, and didn't do that here. So I would, if we could do it, I've been talking with our website guy to see, and he's looking into it, but it's may or may not work without us changing our domain at whitelibrary.org, which would be a big issue. And I don't know if we can technically do it because it's through friends, but
You could keep the White Lake Library website and simply change the email domain.
yeah.
But
So right now, what we priced out is the way they're playing a little bit nice is they're giving us a 50% discount for the first year, which is $3 a month per email account. We currently have 36 email accounts, which would equal $108 a month. This would start in next month. So, and then it would go up to $6 a month starting next year. So it's possible for us to just change to say a different email carrier and keep the domain, but then we have a lot of documents that we do through Google Drive, which is obviously very convenient for not just us, but those that we work with. So it's a give and take. Questions?
so Microsoft has a similar capability. That's a possibility. They may be more open to public entities there. But in terms of keeping the file storage and such, there's a value to that.
It's a sharing, and it's also not just us, but if we're doing things, with committee work or things like that with MLA or Library of Michigan, all that, so many.
Are they all
people-
using Google Drive?
So many of them use Google Drive, and let's use Sheets and we'll all collaborate. And obviously, yes, Microsoft does have that, and we could check into that. It's possible that Google may say, okay, public libraries yes, you can, will allow you to go free. We can still check into going through the Friends. Dale is gonna see about that. But I just wanna make you aware of it.
Okay.
What's going on.
It wasn't just libraries. They had a legacy free, and that's what they're closing down. So my company had to start paying. It's same deal. Yeah, there, so same pricing. So it does seem like a library is a governmental agency that, there should be some
I did talk to.
better
another-
pricing, if not.
There's
free.
just, right, maybe that's the hope.
Yeah.
Like I said, I did talk to another library that originally started theirs through their Friends, and they're not facing it, but I don't know if that will be called out or not, or I don't know what the rule's gonna do. Any questions on that?
So just keep us posted.
As you'll see from the picture below, we were able to take one of our previous monitors that we used for our off station and repurpose that into a new catalog, which is in the adult area, which we didn't have over there before.
Nice, very nice.
It's always good when you can do that. Safety and security, which is a big drive for me coming here. We have started a safety committee, as I mentioned before, and we are creating an emergency manual, including a disaster plan. As part of it. We did have our alarm go off on June 23rd. This was due to some dead batteries, which unfortunately we have had to call and have them do because that's how those are configured. We were able then to purchase the batteries so that we have them, so that we're not paying
Okay.
as much in the future. So, but it's still required a service call. We are also created a who to call for building issues document so that management knows who to call at all times for whatever goes wrong in the building. We added a material data safety sheet binder to the staff area so that any chemicals that are in our building have a safety sheet that explains to a staff member how to be treated in case, say, they get something in their eyes or something like that. So that is there. We had the fire marshal and fire chief out for a visit to do a building walkthrough. We provided them the keys for the alarms. We got the for our Knox box that is out front. We gave them all the appropriate keys, made sure that was all set. They checked all of our, made sure that everything was up to code and to make sure that, to let us know where we needed to make some improvements, which we are working on right now. I reached out to fire safety displays for a quote on exit maps so that we can have those put throughout the building in specific areas. Macomb Mechanical, who has now joined forces with Detroit Automatic Sprinkler, they kind of absorbed them, but Detroit Automatic Sprinkler was the ones who put in our fire suppression system. They came out and did an inspection of our emergency sprinkler system and all is good. The fire extinguishers and emergency lighting are due for inspection and Boynton will be coming out on August 12th to inspect those. All that should be inspected once a year, so that will be on calendar to do that. We freed up space over here in the gathering place closet because we didn't quite have enough space to get to check for the fire suppression system. And so the Friends moved their filing cabinet out of the way. And we're working on a few more things for them to bring stuff down from the sprinklers. They have to be a certain amount down. We are also in the process of clearing out some stuff in the mechanical room to make sure that that's freed up appropriately per fire marshal. So we're working on that. And then future staff trainings, once the safety committee gets all of this into a binder, the plan is for the in-service day to include fire drills, use of pull stations, extinguishers, tornado drills, and ALICE training. The board will be invited to the staff in-service day as well.
Thank you.
So working on all of that.
So one of the things that we did where I'd worked for years safety was always a big, you know, a big priority. And I don't know how we do that here. We always had to, we had a, every time you walked through the door, you had a badge, right? You had to swipe your badge. And they printed that, actually a couple times a day, you know, our security people did. So anybody, and you were supposed to swipe when you left, so people would know if there was an emergency. That was the biggest thing about that, was they didn't know who was actually still in the building. So, because I worked part-time, I might not, you know, I might be in there one day that I wasn't normally supposed to be in there. So that's my question too, as you're looking at this, to say, at your manual, how do you keep track of actually who's in the building with all the part-time people that you have?
That is an excellent
Because you
question.
have to evacuate, it's really important.
Correct, that's an excellent question, and we actually were discussing that at the safety committee, is we're looking for ideas. In my previous positions, what we had was a weekly schedule, and it listed the days and times that people worked on a 2-week schedule. And so we, at the very least, we had that. And then when we all had a fire drill, we knew that we had a central location that we met out into the parking lot, and we had that list every week on a clipboard. And that one person with the walkie-talkie would go out there, we all met in the same spot, and checked off the list. And most of, you know, every time if someone had called in, at the very least, someone would know if someone had called in sick or what the case. And we always put emails out, like say, like I do when I'm here, if I need to go out of building for any purpose, I always send an email to full staff that says, you know, April is boom out of building and my dates and times, so that if something like that happened and I wasn't here, staff knew, oh, you know what, April's out of the building. We don't have to count her. She's not in the building still.
Right.
So there is that aspect of it, but I definitely like the fob idea, which is something that I wanted to look at just for future, for more security too, to have our doors, interior doors fobbed as well. So that's something that I want to look at the future.
Do we have the ability for these indoor, the interior doors to actually lock them from the office?
By key?
No.
No, they aren't, they aren't
Okay.
mechanically or
Okay.
electromechanically.
Might be something we want to look into in the future.
Yeah, it's,
It wouldn't hurt to actually look into it, to be able to actually lock the doors from inside.
Oh, I
The
see what you're saying.
door, the one problem is the door into this, and I just saw this.
Yeah.
The door that's next to April's and mine and Heather's office is an emergency exit. It cannot be locked.
Okay,
And
but
that's where-
that's not a problem, because you know, I mean, there's companies that will do this with us. And if we have some budget, it might be something we consider in the future. You know, because our patron and our staff's safety is #1 priority. Right, so if we feel like there's an issue, there's a problem, and you have the ability to lock from within,
Right.
you'd obviously want to be able to
Yeah,
do that.
I know, yeah, that one during regular hours, that was the one top, that's why that
But
one
you
doesn't
might not
have a
ever
lock
be
on
able
it,
to
because it
include
is
that.
a,
Right.
it is a,
Right.
You might not be able to include that door. Okay. And so those are a couple of things that, you know, that I'm thinking about. I know that we had a couple times that we went out, we thought it was a drill, it actually wasn't a drill. And it was great that they had these printouts that actually showed truly within like the last, 120 minutes, who came in and out of the building. So who they were looking for. So we do have, we have a lot of part-time staff here. We have a lot of, we have staff that, may come in when they're not normally gonna be here. We just want everybody to be as safe as possible.
It would be nice if something like that was also maybe cloud-based, that
That you could pull down.
you
Correct.
could grab your phone as
Yes.
you were leaving, and then
Be able to
you would
look,
be able to
right.
see who had popped in and popped out.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, and when I was involved in this, I mean, this was, years and years and years ago, I'm sure they probably have it all online now. Like one of the companies I worked for, when there was any kind of disaster in the country that you lived in, you had an alert that actually came out on your phone, and you had options to press it, if you were safe, if you had like 5 or 6 different options that you could press that went automatically to your direct manager. Told them what was going on. So like when there was problems when the problems started to occur. you know, all the employees there immediately could say, you know, where they were. So anyways, there's a lot of different options for those kind of things, but knowing where people are that are in the building, if the building has to be evacuated, it's important.
And one more thing, we're also gonna be looking into if that are panic buttons as well, just to see if that's. what it would
That's a
take
great
to
idea.
put in.
Right.
Okay, so.
I would think you'd be able to do that with our alarm system.
Probably, and then it just, it goes straight to the police.
Okay.
So. Nothing with memorials and gifts this month. Okay, so village updates, information communicated to the staff on a regular basis, factual information stated in the July e-newsletter and will be in August. Internally, we have done bookmarks, table tents, QR codes, signage on doors, checkout receipts, front electronic sign, way, reminding of programs, working on some social media for that. Summer newsletter distributed to Tiffany's, Township, Senior Center, Leo's. Notice of millage and voting sent via TL on card holders as well. So. pretty well.
And yeah, and the campaign group has done a very nice job, and there's an awful lot of signs out. So
And
it's great.
Denise will be providing, we're gonna have a printed update for you on that.
Okay, wonderful, thank you.
Friends, quarterly meeting, 14 in attendance there. The June book sales were, but that was amazing, as you can see from that. And our
Wow.
next book sale with them is September 15th through the 17th.
The friends used to do book sale at the Fisk Farm Festival, but that's, I think it would probably make more sense to do it here. Just, you know, the traffic was different there, and you're moving that many books over there and back. You know.
Yeah, they felt they didn't really make very much at the Fisk Farm one.
Right.
Yeah, and they had to haul all the books over and all the books back.
They even switched to just paperbacks. There
Yeah,
was a couple
right,
that were
and
held,
yeah.
and they,
Yeah.
they said it was
It wasn't.
a huge job.
This is a really good report.
Very
Yeah,
nice, thank you very
thank
much.
you. Anything else?
No.
Are you sure?
Yes.
What'd you leave?
Go on.
What'd you leave out?
Well, it sounds like the whole, you and all of the staff has done a lot of work.
The staff are amazing. I don't know how they get things done. They're like, oh, we're doing this, we're doing this. I'm like, okay.
Okay, we've got a number of items on the new business. Why don't we start at the top? Request to sell lawnmower.
Yeah, so request to sell lawnmowers. So the lawnmower, right now, we are currently using our in-house facilities staff person to do the janitorial services. So that's about 2 to 3 hours of every day for him to come in, comes in early and does all of that cleaning. So while we're saving on that, that's great, but I still have lots of other facility things for him to do, which does not allow for him to do the lawn cutting. This would happen before I came as well, but with my retooling of his job description, I don't, unless we hire someone to do the janitorial, I can't have him doing the lawn. So the lawnmower only has 14.7 hours of usage on it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's one issue. The second issue is the lawnmower is so large that for the winter, it would have to be stored in the other part of the facilities room there in order to get the snow blower out. So I really would like to sell this because I think we really could get most of our money back on it, which price I'm seeing is here on this invoice from last year was about $5,500. So I'd like to see if we can get close to that with only 14.7 hours of usage on it. I think we can get close.
So when we bought that last year, the intent was specifically that this maintenance person would actually be doing the lawn.
Right. Well, the prior maintenance person.
And that's what I was gonna ask,
Yeah.
and it is a prior maintenance
Yeah.
person, correct?
Right, right.
There was a,
And they weren't doing the cleaning
right,
there, but
so it was one for the other.
yeah.
But it's a little less money to do the lawn than it is to do janitorial. And snow, if you take the two together.
So, okay, and that was my next question. So we have the snow blower as well. Right? Are you saying that, so the person that we have doing maintenance is going to just be interior? Okay. And that it didn't work out as well as we thought it was to do the to snow blowing and lawn.
Just lawn, just stick
Just
with lawn.
lawn.
Yeah, the lawn is so, also the lawn is so large, the amount of hours it would take for him to complete everything it takes to care for this lawn and make it look the way it does. Plus the janitorial would mean I couldn't use him for many other things. So
Okay.
with the snow is the parking lot and salting. It's not the sidewalks. So he still has to do the sidewalks.
Okay.
But that's much quicker. than
That's
the
very
lawn.
quick. And in fact, from what he has told me, the snow blower that we currently have is even way bigger than what we need for the purposes. It's almost shovelable.
Mhm.
So selling the lawnmower, who's mowing the lawn today?
That is we have a company doing it.
Oh, so we have this lawnmower sitting here and we're not
Yes.
using it.
Yep.
Okay, I thought we were. Okay.
Yep.
So how would you go about selling it?
So once we get, and so that's a kind of steps to take that. So I need to get a financial purchasing policy approved so that we can join BidNet. And once we join BidNet, then I can put this
Okay.
up for sale on auction.
And how many hours is it?
14.7.
Okay.
It makes sense to me to, yeah,
If we're not using it.
yeah.
If we could get that,
We could use the money.
that money would pay for about a third, more than a third of the snow and ice removal for the year.
Okay. Okay. That we already have quoted in our budget. Okay.
Yeah. Do you have any, so why don't we, somebody offer a motion?
I offer a motion to sell the lawnmower.
I second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it.
That takes us to the, well, you're gonna talk about this big net, right?
Yes. Okay, got it.
Okay.
Next, library credit card. So I know we talked a little bit, Joe talked a little bit about this last month. And I'm asking the board to move forward with doing this. It came to my attention and going through invoices and having to sign invoices and noticing that from a staff member, they turned in an expense form to me, the amount was far too high for a staff member to be incurring on their own credit card. So I just want us to consider that because I can't in good consciousness see that happen.
So you've looked into how we would do this credit card?
I haven't looked into it.
Okay.
We can go, Joe has said that we can go through, we don't have to get a fancy one, we can go through our banks
Mhm.
to see, that would be the simplest way to do it.
Okay. I guess that was my question.
And we
too,
know
is we-
PNC
We could go to
Has a-
PNC and ask for that.
as
Yes,
a card.
okay,
We would need, so it's, to my mind, we would need to have a policy for how the card is used and
right.
not used.
I can investigate from PNC what the card would be like. And definitely we need a policy in place on how the card is used in the process for the expenditures.
Yeah, it seemed like that would fall right in with the financial, purchasing policies, which are small purchases.
Okay.
So one of the considerations would be the house, how does it get, how does it get approved? What's the, how does it get reviewed? So it just in general, I would expect that any purchase would have to be approved by the director, and that we would have a cap on the amount of the purchase that could be consistent with the $5,000 limit there, but we may want to have a lower limit. That $5,000 is you could buy a used lawnmower. for that kind of money.
Okay,
So, you want to, we'll put this on next.
mhm,
For this, okay.
yeah, I'll check on the card, on the
Okay.
details on it.
Next one is electronic bill payments. This is another thing that Joe brought up last month. I did investigate a little bit with him, and he informed me of two ways that it could be done. One is a service called bill.com. So basically the pricing, the way it works, it's about $55 a month per user plus transaction fees. Let's go through this. Okay, so if it would take about 3 users, so that would be myself, our administrative assistant, and a board member, to cover bill scanning input. But the money that it would save, because it would take from what Joe has to do, then that nets out to be about 120 additional costs per month to have that service. So with bill.com, you're looking at around $120 a month to pay for to have that service.
Okay,
Okay,
all right,
to be able to have electronic bill payment. Now, there is another option that is free, and that is directly through QuickBooks. So bank to bank transfer. However, there's no approval process with QuickBooks. So it's something that, and there's a few other limitations he says, but
okay,
this would need to be a conversation. If you wanted to try the QuickBooks, we could do it, but you'd have to have an approval process, how the board wants to do it, or a policy that directs what can be paid electronically without. So like Rich was saying, in regards with the same thing with the credit card, it's like certain amounts.
Yeah.
So it's just something that needs further examination.
So
Yeah,
a
for
lot,
sure.
a lot of the recurring bills, utility and, phone, life insurance, types of things seem good candidates for that. But we would need to make sure that we still have a review of the bills.
and those could be done right through our checking account, Rich, that are just an EFT,
Well, that's what,
without going through the QuickBooks or
well,
with.
QuickBooks is doing the transaction. So it's basically, an EFT that they're initiating, but by doing it that way, it gets right into our, there's not a separate transaction to record that. So that includes the recording of the event
Okay.
there.
I can investigate further and get a much more full write-up on the QuickBooks from Joe.
And I think that Rich is right. It just needs to be those things that we see every single month for you. Specifically, I was thinking of like the utilities, you know, and some of those can be actually an automatic payment, right?
So what is,
And I don't know, can we do that as a nonprofit? Can we do an automatic payment? Like we set up with Edison for them to automatically withdraw from our account.
yeah, yeah.
I know, that's why I'm signing this check every, month, and I'm thinking, why?
So, yeah, and, and the cost of each individual transaction. If we got so today we get the reports from Joe that says, here's the checks. If we got a report that was, here's the checks and here's the EFTs, and then we sign that. So
Okay,
we have two board members sign that and say, okay, and then, okay, this batch was approved. And it happens. So that would be the control that would be,
okay,
it would be
Sure.
consistent.
just like we're signing checks today.
Yeah, essentially
I'll check with them.
Okay,
I'll investigate further.
if that would be. easy.
yeah.
It seemed like it would streamline, but we certainly want to keep, reasonable
Checks and balances.
checks and balances.
For sure. Okay.
Okay, so every now and then something comes up that I, want to check policy and procedure on.
Mhm.
So you're going to see a couple of things that have come up that aren't really matching. So public policy 1B holidays. So currently we are closed the Saturday before Labor Day. And that is per the personnel policy 4.8 paid closed holiday, which says Labor Day and the Saturday before.
Okay,
But the 1B holidays in the public policy simply says Labor Day. And I think that's not, if you are a patron and you check our policies, you would think from that we are open the Saturday before Labor Day.
so we need,
So
okay.
And Memorial.
Is Memorial Day is the same way?
Closed on Saturday.
yeah, so then, yep,
Mhm.
yep, both state that same thing.
Same thing with Thanksgiving. So,
We're
yeah,
closed
so
Friday and Saturday after Thanksgiving.
Yep,
Yeah.
same thing. So all the, it's not, I could simply take it from paid closed holidays from the personnel manual and duplicate it into the holiday, to the public one.
Okay,
That might make the most sense.
except that the Veterans Day, the Employee Training Day would not be, it would still need to be a closed day. If you plan to continue to do that.
Yes.
okay.
So if you're all okay with that.
So we would need a motion describing what that change would be. So the motion would say something like to update the administrative policy 1B holidays to match the paid closed holiday, is that the same manual? Is that the, that's personnel policy, isn't it?
Right. one's
Personnel policy, 4.8 paid closed holidays plus Veterans Day. Did you catch that?
I did.
Okay, so I would entertain a motion to that effect.
I'll see if I've got it written right. Okay. I'd like to make a motion to update the administrative policies part 1B to match, what's the name of this one called? No, I got the
Personnel.
Personnel, yeah, to match
Personnel policy.
personnel policy 4.8,
Paid
paid
closed
closed holidays plus Veterans Day.
as an employee training day, maybe.
Veterans Day. As an employee training day.
Do I, is there discussion or actually is there a second?
I'll second that motion.
Any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it.
Okay, the next one, personnel policy 4.17 Cobra, as stated in the personnel policy. It currently states that it requires the library to offer its employees and their families the opportunity for temporary extension of health insurance coverage at the group rate with the 2% administrative cost. The issue with this is that according to our broker, we are unable to offer, we cannot offer COBRA because we do not have 20+ FTEs.
Okay.
So, and I was pretty blunt with when I questioned. My question was specifically, are we able to offer COBRA if we do not have 20+ FTEs? And the answer was no, you are not able to offer COBRA without 20 FTEs. We currently have 12.15.
Okay, so we're a long ways from 20. Okay, so we'll have to remove that.
So,
No choice.
or we need to
Or something else.
include COBRA if the library has, if the library meets the requirements, we would offer it.
Yeah,
But
as long as the library has.
yeah,
Yeah, that definitely has to be added that way, so. Because if our broker says we can't offer it because we don't have any FTEs. then we-
yeah, but it's not a broker, it's not go get a different broker. It's,
Right,
what's
right,
the
for
rule?
sure.
What's what is COBRA? So do we want to try to work that language out? Right here, or do we want to, that feels like getting that language right is. We can give it a shot.
Or we could add something to the end of this. And say, we could say something like, this COBRA benefit is only available when the library has a minimum of 20 FTEs. And I don't know how we want it per, I don't know what the legalese would be on that.
Could you leave the number out though?
I would-
In case it does
Maybe-
change.
maybe
It
so-
meets the
maybe more
requirement.
generic.
Yeah,
one.
very.
Yeah.
Something
point.
like,
So if you started,
If the library meets the requirement of.
when requires.
I don't think,
Page.
but I don't think we want to, I didn't really want to start that. The beginning of this. Because I think it's important to spell out what Cooper means at the beginning. And we might just want to say this benefit is available only if the library meets.
Well, that runs in conflict with that we're required, the statement that
Okay,
we're required to, so it's, and what we're understanding is that it, in our current configuration, perhaps, probably in our all previous employment situations here, we have not met the 20 FTEs. Is it FTEs or is it full-time
FTEs.
employees?
FTEs.
So it's total full-time, okay. I'm going to suggest that we table that to and come up with the language for that. I can certainly help with that, but
and then bring it back to next
and
month.
bring it back to next month.
Okay. Okay, we ready to talk about the next one?
Okay, so I had the fun time of just completing the workers' compensation audit. So we're gonna be changing a few things with that, some procedural things internally to work for next year's audit, so we don't have to do as much tracking down.
Okay.
But in that, I came across the fact that in our policy, it states in the personnel policy 4.18.4 volunteers, it states volunteers are also protected by the library's workers' compensation insurance. That is not true. It's not covered by our workers' compensation insurance. So we can't say that.
It was when that was written. So we must have had a change.
Because when I went through the workers' compensation finder, there is an answer from one of our brokers for that, that says, unfortunately, there's no way to add volunteers under a workers' compensation policy unless they're statutorily covered positions such as police or fire. But the good news is that our MMRMA coverage does cover that, and I did double check that. And it is volunteer medical payments are covered.
So maybe that's what we were.
Well, they pay up to 25,000 right? Do
So
we,
I'm not
when we have
sure.
volunteers here, do we have them fill out a hold harmless?
So, no. But all of that.
I
stuff
have
is gonna
volunteered at
start-
other libraries and I can tell you that I have.
Yeah, all that starts going, all of that's going to.
Okay,
Yes.
yes. We really, for example, you know, I do tail wagging tours. I'm insured by Therapy Dog International when I walk through the store. So, you know, in those kind of instances, the volunteers are insured, right? And there's other volunteer programs that come in here that are, but I have done volunteer work at other libraries when I, you know, years ago when I was traveling, I'd always work at a library, you know, for something to do when I had an extended stay. And I almost always signed a hold harmless.
Well, that's exactly what I'm gonna be instituting,
Okay.
because I have a form that will, every vendor, every program, everyone will have to sign. Do you have it? If so, you have to fill out a certificate of liability. If you do not, we will have to see them sign in front of us that they don't. And it states right on there that you hold us harmless. So
Very good.
that will be instituted shortly. But in the meantime, I'm
It's,
not sure what you want to do with.
well, it sounds like there's two things with the volunteer. It's not covered under workers' compensation
Right.
insurance. So we could move to strike that section. Because it's, you know, there. So then the question would be, well, do we move that to, well, this is the personnel policy, right? So where do volunteers fall? Would they be? I have to take a look at the preamble and all of that with I'm trying to remember. In terms of like the scope, to me, I think it's. I don't know that when we added that volunteer medical, I mean, it's okay. I can see where it came from. It came from that there, but is it a personnel? Or is it a public? What's the? Isn't there a public manual? What's it called? You know what I'm talking about? So we've got the personnel policy, but the public something,
Public policy manual.
public policy manual, yeah. It seems like that is more, fits more in there.
I can investigate and look and see, you know, maybe what a couple other libraries are doing.
Yeah,
See
yeah,
if they list it, how they list their volunteers, what they say about them.
yeah. It sounds like we should have, I mean, it feels like we should have a volunteer policy, well, you know, in place, whether it's, but it shouldn't be, it feels like it shouldn't be here in the workers' compensation section of the personnel manual.
Agreed, Rich. We definitely have, if we don't have a volunteer policy, we should. You know, I brought up this, you know, when I first started on this board, the other libraries do, they use volunteers for being able to drop things off to the homebound. You know, they have drivers for the homebound. And that's another, my father-in-law was very, very involved in that in his hometown. And he did sign a hold, I talked to his librarian, they do, all of them signed a hold harmless. So if they got in a car accident while they were delivering as a volunteer to the homebound, they could not go back and their insurance, they understood that their insurance company, that they had their insurance with would cover whatever accident they had, and it would not go back to the library. Right? So if we don't have a volunteer policy, we probably should have one.
I can investigate that. In the meantime, do you want to keep this, you know, how do you want to handle this aspect of it?
Well, it
I
really shouldn't be.
think we should
in-
strike that
Yes,
4.18
I
point
agree.
4.
So I raise a motion to eliminate from the personnel policy section 4.18.4 regarding volunteers being protected by the library's workers' compensation insurance.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it.
Okay, next I bring forth a financial purchasing policy draft. I know it's a lot to kind of look at and decide upon tonight, but if you wanted to take a few minutes to look at it.
And is this something that we can look at today, and can we table a decision
Of
until
course.
next month? Okay,
I mean, there's a lot to kind of take in. here.
right.
So is this a financial purchasing policy or is it a purchasing policy?
It's under the heading of financial, and then it's the purchasing policy itself. There's a few other things in there that kind of give some guiding principles, but if it's missing something, or if you want further investigation. on
Yeah,
it,
because
let me know.
really, for the purchasing policy, this first statement isn't, this investment statement really doesn't go there for
Yeah,
purchasing.
Might be able to break it out into two, just have like financial and then purchasing.
Mhm.
so this really, there's, yeah, this is definitely, this is a. So it really isn't a purchasing. Or,
No, this is more of a
Yeah.
financial
Yeah.
policy than a purchasing policy.
yeah,
I haven't found much more that is more specific to purchasing. I mean, I can do a little bit more investigating to see just if there's anything else I can add. I don't know necessarily if it would, we should include. I mean, I guess we can go once, if I can find some credit card stuff and add that in.
Well, if we end up doing some type of EFT, that would be added here. I don't know if I was aware, so is this our current policy today? Have at least 8% of the library revenue and all funds come from.
No, that's just an example.
Okay.
We could do it as a start and then we could add on to it. That's another option as well.
Yeah, I definitely want to look at this before we make any decisions.
yeah.
And
So within our, oh, Amy, financial policy. As I recall, you've done some drafting.
No, I just got that class, so, and we did do the, yeah, I did do the, rewrote a policy, but I do have samples from my class that I can share with April,
okay,
Okay,
including all individual policies for credit card.
Yeah.
E-payment.
great.
yeah.
Great.
Let's see, I know we have a policy about, say, the purchase limit of the $5,000, but I don't recall where that's documented.
Because you both looked on my behalf because I was asking for the class and neither of you
Yeah.
could find printed.
Right.
That doesn't mean it's not somewhere.
Yeah, I think it might be in our,
But we do have a director emeritus, so this would be a very good question.
Yeah.
I have asked for something similar and.
Okay.
But I will ask again.
Okay.
So I think we have recollections of things
For
that
sure.
aren't necessary, but it's like, oh, where is it? And from that, it feels like we need a financial policy.
Mhm.
And that should both guide us and steer us, that has goals and principles. And it also has controls defined, such as a purchasing policy.
Mhm.
You know, within that. This feels
Okay.
maybe big enough that we should, that this might be like a subcommittee.
I agree, Rich. I think it's gonna take a lot of thought to put this together and make sure that we cover everything.
Yeah, rather than just dumping it on the director and saying, come back with
Right.
brilliant ideas.
Right.
Feels like this is a, it should be a board involved type of project. Yeah, so if people are in agreement, I know we have a quorum, but not a full membership.
Right.
Here, but I know that first April, would that be welcomed?
I would love that.
Okay.
You see committee and I'm there.
There, so is there interest in
Well,
participation?
of course, I'd be interested in doing that as treasurer.
Mhm. There's I know your work schedule probably is not as.
I
conducive.
can check, but I would be interested.
And we don't have to do a committee. A committee we can do Zoom meetings. We don't have to be in person.
Yeah.
Because obviously you can share the documents on the screen.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Super easy.
Yeah. And so that would be a start.
Would you be interested in doing that?
Yeah.
That'd be- Okay,
I don't know if.
and then we can put it out to the other members if they're interested in helping as well.
Yeah, we don't want to have four members and create a
quorum.
decision-making body.
But Jen might
there
be
without
interested.
Jen or Beth
Or
might
Beth,
be,
yeah.
and
So I think we need to give them the opportunity to see if they would like to participate. Okay. Thank you, Rich.
so let's see, I think if we create a committee, we should memorialize that. Would accept a motion to create a financial policy committee report to the board.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to create a financial policy committee.
Okay. With, and so, why don't we, with initial membership of
Ron Newton
Glenn Newton and Jake Dudek,
and April Stevenson.
And
I second that motion.
and potentially one additional with,
Board member.
yeah, with an open seat or something like that. We don't need, if two people is plenty, also, I mean, it doesn't need to be.
It was really helpful when we were doing the last committee to have three of us.
Mhm.
I thought that the insight was very, very, very helpful.
So there's a motion,
And I
a
second.
second, and all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. We have a committee, so we'll need to add a committee report to the forthcoming
Okay.
index. Committee reports. Um, And where would the best place to be that? Feels like that might be a between officer reports and library director's report. Feels like that would be the
Okay.
place to include that, but you might feel differently next month, so it's, so, yeah.
So however you put it
Yeah.
together. April.
Yeah.
No, I already said it as well.
Okay,
Okay, so the last thing I have is under new business is the strategic plan request for proposal draft. I think this is gonna be another thing that you're going to want to take some time to look over. There's some questions I have on there, as for instance, are you looking to have a 3-year strategic plan? Do you want it to be longer? You'll have to kind of determine that. Obviously, when we start to go for proposals, we'll put in a date and time. Do you want to, as you just started a financial committee, are you going to want to do a strategic planning committee?
Definitely.
So that's another thing. that members can come involved in.
Just, and I wish that Jen was here because I know she's very interested in strategic plan. And so making that decision if it's 3 or 5 years is hard to say. Without some input from Jen.
I would say having gone through one that was longer and then going through one that was shorter, it was nice to have the shorter one because just so many things come up, new goals and things that it's really just nice to kind of, and I don't know necessarily in this case, yeah, I think it's a great idea for us to seek a consultant. That's just to get us kind of going and get that train moving. Say in 3 years, maybe you don't need a strategic consultant because it might not be necessary. So maybe every 6 years you do a consultant, but that's just my experience. You guys can decide what you want to do.
so in the past, yeah, we've used consultants. And similar, but and then extended, we had the discussion and extended, modified, but not a rewrite, not a go out and gather in detail the, sort of that consulting process of gathering information and that's determining what sort of the community. It's a more formal process, but it's been quite a while since we did that. So we've done it twice in my career, and I've been here 12 years. So, so that's at least that's
But it hasn't been done since we've been in this building.
Oh yeah, it was quite a while before that. Really, the building was so we had finished the 3 years, and before as we were just starting, or just heading, we were heading toward the building. I think we were in, the millage to do that out, which was a while ago now. So yeah, so we're definitely overdue.
Okay.
I will say that you almost have to do one before you do the other. So you would almost need to do the financial committee to get that done, to get the policy to start the bid net. And then because it would really pay off to submit this to get requests for proposal, to get submissions.
Okay.
For.
Oh, and we
have to have a financial policy in place in order to qualify for membership for BidNet.
Okay, so we have to have this, I didn't realize that. Okay, all right.
Yeah. Everything else is in place and.
So we could, go the old fashioned route for the strategic query get pricing from. We did that in hiring in hiring a director,
Sure,
getting a
sure.
consultant for that. So, so we could do that separately or in parallel. I like the idea of it going through a common process, but I don't know that necessarily that consultants would be going through BidNet.
Well, I can tell you, a number of libraries are putting it through there. So, that's,
I think, I'm just saying, there's a, if we had BidNet, that would be a good way to do it, but if, cart and horse,
yeah.
there.
Depends on how, are you looking to get the strategic planning going with a consultant in the fall? Or are you more thinking that this would be something that you'll do after the first of the year? So it's really about what your timing is, what you're looking for.
I think if we start if we start in January, it can by the time we're wrapping that up, we're getting into summer there, and so with kind of the energy could go out of that, in terms of, okay, there, and so, it's summer, so, it's like, yeah. So I'd rather see us moving
Okay.
more quickly than that.
And BidNet, what kind of fees are we looking at to use that program?
It's free.
Yeah.
The only time it's not free is like for the silent auction, they would take a small percentage
Okay,
of your sale.
okay. But they want to see a copy of our financial policy to be
Right.
part of BidNet.
Right.
Okay. Okay, so we need to move on it, because we want to sell a lawnmower.
Yes, that's the whole purpose. of it.
Which, I'm
Yes.
thinking, okay, how else could we put that lawnmower up for sale without going through BidNet, right?
There's some other ways.
Because it is the end of July.
Yeah.
Who's gonna wanna just buy a
Right.
lawnmower in October
I
to store,
know.
right?
Yeah, so we might be storing it for another
We
year.
might be storing it
Yeah.
for one
Yeah,
more
well, it'd be
winter.
nice if we didn't have to, because then it's
It's
another
like
year
trying
older.
to sail a boat now.
Right.
You know?
So. Or, I could, no, the advantage of BidNet is you might get some landscape companies that are just, hey, you know what, oh, that's got a little, that doesn't have very many hours, let's grab it, we'll have it, and so.
Yeah, it looks like it would be a larger population of
Oh, yes.
looking for.
I do have, Allison at Commerce did let me know that there's something I might be able to take advantage of if we want to sell it over with them, but I can double check on that
Okay.
too.
So you have a price that you think that you're going to ask?
Yeah.
I think it's,
There's only 14.7 hours on it, so come on.
Low mileage.
Low
Okay.
mileage.
okay.
Okay, so I will move forward with that. So
Yeah,
strategic
So
planning.
what, yeah, Rich, what are we gonna do?
So
This
do you-
looks good to me.
So let me just see if I can get some names. I know, number one, I know Joe said last month that he has done
Yeah.
strategic planning, so I can get a quote from him.
Okay,
I can reach out to some other libraries just to see who they used and what it costs for them. And
Yeah,
then we can kind of
we should have records of,
see that.
I don't remember who we used, or,
Micah and Herzl, who are retired now,
Oh,
and
but
then the
yeah.
other gentleman was out of the state. Wasn't he like somewhere in the Midwest?
yeah,
He
yeah,
was the-
Mike,
He was the big one. Micah and Herzl were the initial ones.
yeah, they were good. It was like, just go grab that, but yeah, no, that's right, I did remember hearing that they were closing up shop. But yeah, I asked around, so yeah, I mean,
Sure.
Joe sounded like he knew what he was doing in terms of doing this type of thing.
Right.
He said, we're after tax day, so this is met that criteria. I don't think we're a particularly difficult one, you know, putting a plan together. Just think the gathering of data and such. MLS, not MLS, I have some ideas of, well, actually MLA Bay, as well as the Michigan Library.
Yeah.
I have some, who are the people that are doing these in the state now?
We'll investigate that.
But yeah, I mean, but to me, this passes the smell test.
All right, so I want to move forward with this, Rich.
Well, I think we,
Do you want me to come back next month with maybe some names, a little bit more information on that side of it?
yeah, would there be any harm in saying, yeah, because I don't see anything here that I go, oh, wait a minute, this doesn't make sense. Yeah, but I think it would make sense to get at least like, what are we talking about in terms of cost from maybe, you know,
With the average.
yeah, get, you know, and then,
And I think that's what we did with the last consultants that we used. We looked at 4.
yeah, 3 or 4. Yeah, I think we're,
And I think we had an idea of their proposals before we interviewed them.
yeah, I don't think we need to necessarily do anything formal today.
Okay, I'll be back then with more info.
Yeah, and if we should be moving quicker and need to have a meeting in the middle, then we'll do that. That's everything under the new business
Yep.
and old business.
Okay, so you asked me to do a little further investigating on the seal coating, and I did. So based on further research and recommendations, I would like to hire A&R seal coating as part of their original quote. They apply 2 coats of latex seal coat. They can also do the work on a Sunday and then straight the lot before we open on a Monday. They are available within 30 days of board approval. I also reached out to 2 of their former library customers, which is West Bloomfield Library and Novi, and both directors highly recommend them and will use them again. Lastly, they were the lowest bid.
Sounds wonderful.
What's the,
So they came in at $8,950.
any discussion? No, so can we get would somebody like to offer a motion to?
For a motion to approve the parking lot seal coating for A&R seal coat not to exceed the quote provided. Can I say that?
Would there be any incidental expenditures that might apply? Or
They did not say that. Overall, there are no alligator areas. We really don't have any now. The paper recycling container that is going to need to be moved to the grass area. So I'm going to have to figure out how to get that moved off and on.
So do you want to say plus
no,
10% for incidentals?
no, I don't think there's.
Okay.
So we'd approve the proposal as presented.
As
then
presented, okay.
Would
So I offer a motion to,
accept the proposal as presented.
to accept the proposal as presented for the parking lot seal coating by A&M Seal Coat.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it.
April.
So within 30 days would be August.
You said it in 30 days?
Yeah, cool.
Okay, so I was hoping to bring you two to three more snow and ice management quotes, but we're really having trouble getting them responding to us. So I'm gonna table that again for old business again. Hopefully I will have those. And then lastly, we did the review of policies 1J, Christ, Steadman's, Walnut, and Maple, in which case you all approved the change. And I'm happy to say that that is going well. And we're going to start marketing even more that we have these study rooms.
Great.
We have seen usage go up, and definitely families are using those and to get their children that extra tutoring and education.
Fabulous.
Awesome.
Okay.
I see nothing else on the agenda. Are there any topics that we still need to discuss?
We're here.
I don't
There we
hear
go.
any.
No, but I just want to make a comment that, I appreciate all the statistics, and it's very nice to see that everything is, all the usage was higher in June than it had been previously for the entire, first 5 months, and that's fabulous.
I think that's the reading program in the
It's the
summer.
summer spike.
Yeah, it really brings a
I
lot of
think you're
people.
right, but it's really great.
Yeah, it's pretty,
Yeah.
pretty much the same as 2021. Is that end?
I've asked Maria also to pull some social media statistics, because in watching our getting notices via just for Facebook alone, I'm seeing a lot more likes, a lot more page likes going on. So that's really exciting to see that. In fact, actually, the majority of the Facebook notifications I'm getting, I'm like, oh, somebody, oh, no, it's not for me.
Yeah. Yeah, if that makes sense for us to be, if there are metrics that we should be looking at on the presentation electronically, that'd be interesting.
Yeah, for occasionally getting those social media ones.
Wonderful.
Okay, lacking anything else on the agenda, I would entertain an additional motion. I think you haven't made a motion today. You've seconded.
I've seconded it like about
All of them.
I will make a motion to adjourn the meeting of the White Lake Library Board of Trustees, July 27th.
I will second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting's adjourned at 8:43.
Great.
Are we done recording?